right. Sounds good enough to me. Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. Hope you're having a good one here. After yesterday's video about the self taught legend, I feel as though on today's practice stream, perhaps I am morally obligated to appease the gods of practice and good etiquette by sitting down and myself learning how to play Spain. This is a song that I'll be honest, despite having played some jazz, I'm not saying I'm a jazz legend, as we have discussed on this channel before. I'm a blues legend, is what I am. So, as a jazz dilettante, if you will, I was not familiar with the song Spain. I'm very unfamiliar with the song Spain. And after I got done shooting the video yesterday, I was actually looking at the chart briefly. So technically, I might be cheating ever so slightly in the sense that I have seen these chords before and I know things like it's in the key of D. I think, if memory serves, but that's kind of where I'm at on this. Before we get started on that, actually, what I think would be some good practice here today would be to take a look at doing 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the most basic exercise, and odds are if you've done any mechanic practice or you've run into any mechanical exercises that you recall at all, the one that you're probably most conversant with is 1, 2, 3, 4. And what is that? That's index, middle, ring, pinky, starting one finger per fret. Now, if you want to do this and work on your picking patterns here, my advice is you're going to go up, down, up, down. That way we're crossing over to the next string. So we go up, down, up, down, up. And then same thing, backwards. Now we're going to go down. So up to go up, down to go down. Easy enough to remember. In and of itself, this exercise is not particularly practical. It has a place. Where is its place? Well, when I want to create chromatic passages in music. So really, the best way I like to think of this is it's a way to approach notes. So I'm trying to get to here. Maybe I do something like that gives a little bit of a bluesy quality to it. I'm trying to approach to here. Again, gives a little bit of a bluesy quality to this. We can use this to approach our tonic as well. So lots of nifty ways to use this. If you have maybe learned like kind of like the blues variation of this, you can do a pentatonic scale. I mean, I'm adding some accidentals here. You can actually go. Or work it into a Dorian box here. So if I'm thinking of that Dorian box. Falling back here to the 4th fret on the D string. So I can go. One of the nice things about the chromatic system, or introducing a little bit of chromaticism, is it can clean up your picking direction. So when I want to cross strings, I want to make sure I'm going up if I'm trying to go back down frequency wise. I want to end up on an upstroke, right? So that I'm going to get over here. And especially if you're not thinking about it, odds are a lot of times you might be ending like this, going down, but you need to be going back up. So little exercises like this are good to practice that so it becomes muscle memory, which is to say you have a better percentage chance of actually hitting that exercise the way you want to do it. Now let's talk about another fun little tweak to just that basic 1, 2, 3, 4 thing that I think is very musical. And this is essentially the lazy man's enclosure, if you will. So instead of me going index, middle, ring, pinky, right? I am going to go index, pinky, and then index, middle, ring, so that I can get an approach. It works going into your tonic here, because it sort of implies that I'm going back home, or I can resolve it just on that ring finger. Try it out, play around with it a little bit here. That's my basic advice with this. And then, of course, last and certainly not least, 1, 2, 3, 4 does have a very useful purpose, especially if you're playing bass and you don't have to worry about making any compensations for the B and E string here. And that's giving us a chromatic scale. And an easy one at that. So if I do this at the 5th fret here, I go index, middle, ring, pinky, and I just keep falling back a fret as I go up a string. So I'm going to go to the A string at 4, the D string at 3, and the G string at 2. If you want to keep this going on the B string, I'm going to stay at 2 because of that tuning discrepancy, and then I'm going to fall back again. And that just gives me an endless chromatic scale. Which is a great way to get home. It also looks really cool. Cameras like the diagonal motions. So any of those sorts of plays look cool, as opposed to sort of that boomer pentatonic box, the kind of basement box. We're sort of used to seeing guitar players playing like that. So one of the things that is appealing from a visual standpoint is just seeing people moving in a diagonal motion. One other trick that I can toss in before we get into Spain here is the diminished arpeggio. I'm basically kind of trying to toss in some tricks here at the start of today's video that are pentatonic E, because odds are, if you're coming to these type of videos, that's what your hands have kind of gotten some familiarity with already. So this is one of those things. The diminished arpeggio can be done fairly easily here. I'm going to treat this like the start of the pentatonic scale. So index and pinky, 5, 8. And we're going to kind of do the opposite of the chromatic thing. Now we're going to go down a string and down a fret. So I'm going to go to A, or I'm going to go to the A string at the 6th fret. Keep that going, down a string, down a fret. Now, expanding this out at the top here, I kind of like to break this into 2 sections. I will do the lower portion first here. Treat that as one exercise because you can actually keep repeating that sequence all the way up the board. Diagonal stuff looks cool. Stuff like that looks really cool. And then you can practice these guys, which have nicknamed evil butterflies. So what those look like. So I'm going to go 9. Oh, we'll just do it here at 9. 9, 12. Ring finger here on the B string at 11. And then 9, 12. Oh, my goodness. So that is kind of the exercises I would take a look at here today. Add some diminished arpeggios into your licks. Add some chromaticism into your licks. All these things are cool things to have into the mix here. All right, just quick check of the audio here. Everything seems to be going okay today. which is nice. Which is nice. Sometimes I am worried that it's not the best audio, but I think we've got decent audio today. Okay, so let's get into our main course for the stream here, which is going to be taking a look at the glorious song that is Spain and trying to give it a learn, shall we? All right. Google Chrome, you are live. We're going to share that tab audio. All right. Where we go? Spain backing track. This really is a completely new song to me as of this week. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that hard, but we shall find out, won't we? Sure. Okay. Spain solo change, slow backing track. Oh, easy enough. Okay. Okay. I mean, this little solo section is just what we could consider to be a fun little solo section. Thinking about this real quickly here, we're in the key of D major, more or less here. That's ultimately what we're resolving back to here, especially off on that second line. To the E minor, which is the 2, A7, which is the 5 of D major, and then it resolves to D major here. So the progression starts hip on the 4 here, and we're going to be doing like a G major 7 here. Another kind of fun way of thinking about this harmonically is that this G major 7 is a B minor chord with a G in the bass. And the only reason I would mention thinking about it like that is because then that makes this first line a 5-1 progression, 1-5 progression, B minor to F sharp 7 here. And that's also kind of the magic that's happening when we're doing like these like Thriller's Guan style resolutions. The reason that feels good is that G major 7 or the flat 6 chord in like a Thriller's Guan style progression, that chord is actually kind of a Trojan horse 1 chord that's resolving back into a 5. So it's like a 1 to a 5. You have that. Can you really hear it when I play it up here? Those top 3 strings, that is a B minor chord here with that G, and then it pulls back into the F sharp 7. So we can think of those Thriller's Guan like style turnarounds really as like a 1 to a 5 kind of in disguise, or you got that 1 chord sort of hidden in there. And that's how this progression's starting too, which is neat. So we are going to be going G major 7 to F sharp dominant 7. And I mean, maybe I'm just a child of like the 90s and all that jazz. But of course, the Rooster Allison change style 7 feels really good right here. Although we can also do a little flat 9 action. That felt good. So either one of those works. Now, if you are reading a chart like this, and I actually appreciate jazz charts that are more written like this than stuff that I used to see in the fake book. In the fake book, they will put these extended voicings in there. And those are meant to be helpful. But if you don't have an encyclopedia of chord voicings in your head, they're not providing the help that they're designed to provide. What is that help? Good question. That help is that if you knew those chord voicings, you would just be sort of passively playing the melody if you played those extended chord voicings. I much prefer a system where we illustrate the majors and minors, the corresponding sevenths, and any meaningful color voicings that really ought to be there, and then sort of leave it open to interpretation for the player. What extensions do you want to put on this? There's many different options. So next we are going to get into our 2-5-1-4 line here. So that's E minor to A7 to D major 7 to G major 7. Easy way to play that, and one that'll really kind of make you feel that 5 relationship between these chords. Just bar chord, like here be my E minor up here on the 7th fret. I can take this entire shape, just bring it right on down. There's your A7. Then now we got to change grips. We're going into those major 7ths. But that's going to be right there at 5 again. And then next here, back at our G major 7, however you choose to get that. I mean, if you want to, you could even go 7, 5, 10, and then 10. Which is kind of fun because we get this. Next, we are going to get like these little 5s to get us back to B minor here. But the spiciness is in this change from line 2 to line 3, where we are going from a G to a C sharp, which is the devil's interval. So we get that G major 7 rubbing up against the C sharp 7. Notice that they share, and then this just moves down. So this triad here moves down. So we got, I could even get real spicy with it. Here's my major 7th at 10. And then move that back. And this almost like, here, I'll get out of the share real quickly to show you this inversion shape. Here's your standard G major 7. Just 10, 12, 11, 12 in the middle 4 strings here. Now here's the spicy chord. We're going to keep that pinky right there. We'll move that triad back. So now we got the C sharp there, but we're going to make it a little spicier. I'll bring this to 8. Because that is the 3rd right there. So you've got this inverted dominant 7th. First inversion, if you will. Little dusty roads on Saturday morning. And then I need to go to F sharp minor 9. Ooh, that's a fun way to get there. We get an enclosure of the F sharp that way. I mean, that feels good. That's the real, I mean, that's not the real trick to jazz. Barry Harris is going to come up like, just run me down here in New Mexico. I'll be running to the foothills of the Sandia by evening, trying to escape the ghost of Barry Harris if I keep it up. But having those motions and exploring what harmonic motions the chords actually allow for is really neat. And now I have a couple of different ways to kind of resolve to that B minor here. So if I'm at that G major 7, here's that inverted C sharp 7. Here is my C dominant 7, which is real fun, to the B minor. And I'm just staying on that F sharp there. There's my B minor. You might go, I don't know how to keep track of these inversions. Honestly, here's the easiest way. Go back to your standard bar chord, right? But I'm lazy. I don't want to do this whole thing. Boom. That's it. Too lazy for bar chords. Ain't got time for that. Tired today. Boom. Inversion. Easy enough. So altogether, this Spain thing sounds like. I broke my own rule. Not that hard of a progression to get down, I don't think. I'm not fading the difficulty and the complexity of playing the melody, however. So, going back to our friend, the self-taught legend of yesterday's discussion, I am very curious now that I have a better understanding of this song to see how our friend, the self-taught legend, would have handled the melody and trying to place this melody, which happens largely on offbeats and that sort of thing. Bum bum ba da 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 da. That's basically all I can remember from the head. There's a lot of jumpy, dancey qualities to this. I don't necessarily think soloing through this is all that hard. Although this guy is like, you can't play Spain. And it does occur to me that this solo section is a good intermediate's introduction into jazz, because the only thing you've got to be particularly vigilant about is the F sharp 7 element of this. There's like a little bit of a Phrygian dominant quality going on here. Again, Spain, right? That should be the tip here. So when we go from that G to that F sharp, we're really, it's like a minor or minor 1, dominant 5 thing. So, but essentially this progression for our friend, the self-taught legend, so long as he knows the harmonic minor, there's nothing in here that's particularly perilous. Let's see. I'm not sure how well this will translate, but I actually just want to try to take a pass on it solo. Yeah, so this is really a track that if you just keep your eyes on the chord chart for that F sharp 7 and think, yo, I need to lean into the harmonic minor whenever I hit that F sharp 7, you're good. The other thing you need to be on the lookout for is playing through that C sharp 7, because it does want to do different things. And I definitely noticed on that second pass of the solo, I'm like reading and playing, so it's not necessarily blazing fast speeds or anything like that. But does every jazz solo need to have blazing fast speeds and the most dazzling arpeggios you've ever heard in your life? I submit this to you. Wes Montgomery didn't always do that, right? So if I just keep an eye out for that F sharp 7 and that C sharp 7, then the rest of this is really ostensibly a B minor. And the B7, you might want to give it a little bit of pickardy third. But if you were a blues player and you came from the blues jam and you're showing up at the jazz jam, your trick on that B7 is just give it a little bit of that blues stank on the G string. And the nice part is the song even gives you a resolution of that B sus4, which really helps you if you gives you a really easy way to chromatically walk back into your B minor pentatonic. So Spain, if this gentleman could have played Spain, and I don't know that we'll ever know because no one else on the bandstand knew how to play Spain. I suggest that he probably wouldn't have been able to do that but might have been able to get through a solo on B minor pentatonic with a sprinkling of minor and maybe a little bit of ear wizardry to find the leading tone on occasion, because that's actually all that it takes to play through the Spain chord progression. It's a great progression. And if you really want to work on this, I think the big thing that I observe a lot of players could spend more time on is rhythm. Work on using a progression like this to expand out your rhythm, experiment around with rhythmic figures, think about your next rhythmic figure while you're playing the current rhythmic figure. Think about how you want to extend out these chords, where you want to move them around. That to me is the maybe more exciting and challenging element of this. Otherwise, it's a lovely chord progression, but it's not necessarily, it's not like what Caravan is to drums, right? For those of you who have seen that movie. And it's not exactly, I'm like trying to even think of like what's a good example of a super challenging guitar piece that means something to have down. Don't say Stairway. It's not Stairway. I want to do like a King Crimson thing, but I don't even necessarily know that like knowing how to do all of frame by frame is a great imprimatur, a great way of a great imprimatur of skill, or a great way of enhancing your skill to bring you to these other genres and stuff that you might use more often. But use a progression like this to work on your ear even. That's another great way of doing this. I'm going to take a few more passes on this here, get some practice in. me, guys. Hey, if you like the stream, please go ahead and like the stream. If you want more content like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Got a whole video series on the red, blue, and green scalar system, some of which I was just using here. Don't know what else to do, really, as they say. Just my way. And also have a Patreon here if you are interested in getting some stuff that I can't necessarily do on YouTube, things that might be copyright restricted or copyright protected, or you are interested in getting private lessons yourself. I do offer those. You can subscribe for those over at the Patreon, or you can just message me about getting some private lessons set up. I hope all of you have an excellent rest of your Saturday, and until the next one, have a good one. Happy practicing.